So you started your assignment, you are writing your little heart out, but you keep going back, you keep self-editing, you keep doubting, you keep worrying it doesn't sound good, and you're not getting anywhere. So let's talk about how we can fix that. Welcome to Robin Writers, where we talk about all things content writing. My name is Rebecca, and before we talk about writing first drafts and the best way to do that, in my opinion, I wanted to remind you about the free guide that I have for just for you. It is a free guide to creating a writing portfolio with either little to no professional writing experience. I know in the beginning it could be really hard to prove what you got, what your skills are, when no one wants to give you a chance yet because you don't have enough experience. It can be a struggle. So with my free guide, I have a whole list of different writing pieces that you can create on your own without having to get hired or anything like that. You can write all these different samples and really show what you got. So I hope that helps you. I'll include the link in the description below so you can follow that and have access to the guide, and I hope that helps you. So now let's get into first drafts. This is actually one of my favorite topics to talk about because once I realized how to conquer the first draft, it clicked and it just changed writing for me so drastically. So I first had to learn about it when I was writing the first draft of my first book. I have written 2 books so far, fiction books, but for my first book ever, I was so stuck. I was starting to write, and then when I came back to my writing, I would reread what I wrote, I would make some edits, and then I would start to try and write again, but I would hold myself up because I felt like each word was the final word, and I couldn't stop self-editing and putting so much pressure on myself to get this right. That was so hard, and I've heard from other people that they run into a similar situation too. It's understandable because you want to do well, you want to put out good work, and when you're writing, you want to prove to yourself that you're good enough to do it. And so we went into the problem of just getting held up and getting nervous and judging ourselves that we just aren't writing good enough. It's not good enough, and you hold yourself up. So I'm here to tell you that when you're writing a first draft, no matter what your deadline is, no matter if something is due in 10 minutes, no matter if something is due in 10 weeks, just get the words on the page. I swear this is going to be a game changer for you. If you can allow yourself to just write a bad first draft, judgment-free, just get words on the page, you will find that you are so much more productive. This isn't easy. This is not something that you can just say, okay, I'll just do it and just do it. Maybe you can, but for me, when I was writing my fiction book, it took a while because your mind is so trained to just focus on each word and really think about it and really make sure it sounds good, and it's like a whole thing. But as soon as you can just let loose, just breathe and just say, this is not going to sound good, and that's going to be okay. You just write out everything you need to have written and remind yourself that editing, like the revision process, is there for a reason. It's there to make it better. So the first draft does not have to be good. I even think back to like elementary school when we were writing something and we called it a sloppy copy. I totally just remembered this now. And that totally makes sense because your first draft is supposed to just be sloppy and not good. And that's totally fine. I've had assignments. I've had my boss in my job now like email me and say, I need this done in 2 minutes. Like it would be a short like communication that has to go out to the organization, like internal communication. And she'd say, it needs to say this and this and this. And can you turn this around in like 10 minutes? And we have to send this out. It's an emergency. And if I were to hold myself up with each word to make sure it sounds great the first time, it's going to take longer than the 10 minutes. So even for that, quick turnaround times, just getting something out on the page helps so much because then you have something to work with. Then you can tweak things, then you can delete things, and you can swap out weak words for stronger words. It just helps so much. It's like, you can't make something great when you don't have something to work with to start with. And also for a first draft, I think of it as the first draft is for you. for you to tell yourself what you want to write, for you to tell yourself the story, for you to tell yourself, what is needed to be said. The second draft and all the subsequent drafts are for the people who it's intended to be read by. So, like, for example, for my book, my first drafts are solely for me. I don't have anybody else read them. No one is touching those. There's not even good enough for anybody. Maybe the first page or so I've had my mom read them and my husband. But besides the first few pages, it is just not a draft that is meant for anyone else's eyes other than me. When I'm working on these subsequent drafts, that is when I'm having more of the reader in mind. That's when I get to really make it into what it's supposed to be and work towards that goal. It's the same for a blog post. It's the same for a press release. It's the same for social media content, for articles. The first draft is just for you to get all the information out on the page, get it there, and when you read it, you have all the bones of it. You have the skeleton of it, and you just have to read through it and make sure that it's best for the audience it was intended for. But I swear, this is a simple message today. When you get an assignment, when you have something to write, just get the words on the page, judgment free. Tell yourself it's not going to sound good, and that is okay. It sounds much easier than it is at first, but once you can train yourself to really get in the habit of just getting words on the page to start, I swear you will just feel so much more productive and so much better. It just changed my whole writing world around. It really, really did. So that's why I'm stressing it so much. I think it just so helps. Obviously, I just can't stress it enough. So trust me, try it. And actually, speaking of trying it, I do have a practice task for you today. As writers, we can only get better by writing. We can watch as many YouTube videos as we want. We can read as many articles about writing as we want. All those things. But if we aren't actually putting the work in, if we aren't practicing, we're not going to get very far at all. So I have a task, and this is not a very long task, but I think it's fun, and I think it's really good to just try this out and see what happens. So this is the task, okay? So you work in marketing for a retail store called Fran's Fashion, and you are tasked with writing a Facebook post about the beauty of fall fashion, how there is something for everyone. We aren't selling any specific items, but this isn't really a copywriting type assignment. This is content writing. So, and that's pretty much it. That's all I want to give you. It's kind of open-ended that way. Do what you want with it. Just about fall fashion, motivating people to try new things, and whatever you think might motivate people to be excited about fall fashion. Okay, so now I want you to go get a piece of paper, or I want you to open up your phone, or I want you to open up your laptop, whatever device you have at your disposal to write this assignment. It's not going to take very long. I just think it's very important to try this. So go get your device that you're going to use, and I'm going to give you it might not take you the whole time, but I'm going to give you 5 minutes to write this draft. And what I want you to keep in mind is that I don't want you to really think too hard about it. It just, again, tell yourself, I'm just going to get words on the page. It's probably not going to sound good, but I'm just going to get a start, get words on the page. And after you do that, I'm going to share what I did, because I did this too. I'm not going to tell you to do something, and I'm not even going to do it. I did it, and I'm going to share with you my very not good first draft that I promise I just word vomited on the page for you to show you just what not good first draft might sound like. So, are you ready? Because I'm ready for you. All right, so I'm gonna get my timer started here. Hope you're ready. So again, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes, and then we will reconvene after that. So here is your 5 minutes, and I'll come back when it's up. All right, so that was about 5 minutes. So I hope you are finished. If you're not, definitely just pause this video and just finish for your writing. Hope you're still with me. I'm really excited to show you my first draft, and then we'll kind of wrap things up. So here's my first draft. What bold moves will you make this season? It's fall, and that means warm sweaters, cute boots, and of course, the super comfy leggings. Maybe this is your season to be bold with some bold patterns, statement pieces, or that thing you never thought you could pull off. Trust us, you can. Let's see how bold you are in one of the best times of year. And that's it. Just simple social media posts, doesn't have to be too lengthy. And that's what I got. So it's not really super perfect, of course. It's I probably could choose different word choices. I think I said bold too many times. I think it's just, I could probably have more descriptive words in there and kind of be more motivating, and but this, I think, is a good start to something that can turn into a way better final draft and worthy of publishing on a public platform. So I hope that gives you an example of what you can do. So if you are feeling okay about your first draft and you want to share it with everybody, we can kind of see how everyone's first drafts come out, with the disclaimer that it's first draft. We all know that. But if you're feeling bold, then feel free to drop your first draft in the comments below. That would be awesome. All right, so that was pretty much all that I wanted to talk to you about first drafts today. Again, once I trained myself to just get words on the page, judgment-free, on understanding that the first draft was not meant to be perfect at all, I was able to actually finish my whole first draft of my first book. I did the same thing for my second book. I do the same thing all the time at work when I'm writing all the different things, and for my marketing department. It helps so much. I mean, think of it like a home construction person. What are they called? Home contractors. A builder. They can't build, they can't put the roof on the house as a finishing touch until the foundation of the house is done. They can't, that's just impossible to have a finished product on the first go. They have to build their way up to the whole finished product, the whole house. Hopefully that was a good enough metaphor for you. But truly, this is like an art of this first draft business. So don't be too hard on yourself at first, but just keep reminding yourself, get words on the page. That's really it. Get words on the page. The editing and revising process is there for a reason. You can make it awesome after that, but just tell yourself to just be judgment free. Get that writing done. So I hope that helps. Don't forget about my free guide on how to make an awesome writing portfolio, even when you have little to no professional writing experience. We want to make sure that you have awesome writing samples for your potential clients or potential employers, and my guide will show you exactly how to do that. So thanks so much for watching. I hope this helps you. Just, again, practice that first draft, that mentality, and I think you'll really find a lot of success that way. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.